Video for class number 3. Class number 3 correspond to lesson number 2 about modal verbs. Okay, so let's start. Topic of the class, modal verbs to express ability, permission, advice, obligation, and possibility. The aim of the class to use modal verbs in written and oral examples to express ability, permission, advice, obligation, and possibility. And the activities that are going to be developed during this class are number one, to present the topic. The teacher will use again the platform YouTube with a video that I will share with you part of it just because of the time. Here's the video. And as you can see, this video allows the students to have a better understanding and overview of all the different types of modal verbs, how to use them, when to use them, how are they classified according to these different purposes that they have. As you can see here, we have that the type is the first thing that is introduced with this video.
Examples.
The type, the modal verbs and examples. Ability is the first one. Permission, the next one. Advice, to give advice, what kind of modal verbs we can use. Obligation.
Possibility.
And possibility.
Can, could.
So each modal verb is going to be used in some examples to make them notice the difference.
Speak 3 languages.
It's important to pause the video whenever a teacher needs to direct the attention of students or to explain them something else. Sometimes students need to interrupt the video, to ask questions, to talk about the doubts that probably they have found while they are watching the video. So don't be afraid to stop it or to repeat it. But the idea is to have the information in order and to find this kind of videos that gives the students the information. Now that they are teenagers, they do not like to see a lot of maybe funny characters or puppets or drawings, but it's also important to mix. I will show you a few minutes ago another kind of videos that I found that could be interesting for them and could help them to practice the target language. Okay, activity number 2. Once the video is presented and they have maybe discussed about the elements, about the types of modal, the verbs, and how to use them, or maybe examples that they want to say, that they want to elicit, the next activity will be a game that is called a mingling game. So for this activity, boxes, small boxes are going to be placed around the class with the following labels, the same labels that they watch in the video: ability, permission, advice, obligation, and possibility. And students will find many examples on the board. They are going to be provided some post-it or just small papers, and they will have to classify all these modal verbs that are going to be written at the board. They have to copy each of them and they have to place them according to the classification, according to each label in the boxes: ability, permission, advice, obligation, and possibility. In that way, they're going to use the prior language or the video that they just have watched to classify. Probably they can get confused, yes, and for that, after asking them to place in the correct box the papers according of what they think or according of what they heard, you have to check as teacher, you have to check with them the correct or the incorrect answers. So they will have at the end of the activity, of course, that they will play, they will enjoy it, but they will also have an accurate information and accurate input about the modal verbs, how to use them, when to use them. That's the aim, as I told you before. Okay, the next activity, number 3, will be to reinforce the topic. A presentation in generally is shared to students. This is a very dynamic application, and instead of using obsolete programs like PowerPoint that they are very boring for students, you can use this type of apps, of applications. This one, the one that I am mentioning, is genially, so you can reinforce the topic with these kind of presentations. And you can, as in the other video, as in the other example or activity, you can also provide an iPad, or if you can work in a computer for each group, it will be fantastic. You can share that information and you can stimulate in that way conversations between the groups or between the members in each group. Activity number 4, there's a video with a conversation about modal verbs. Let me see if I can find it to share with you. In that way, you are also working with them the listening skills. Okay, the video is here ready, so you can check a little bit of it, a part of it. Yeah? Let's watch it. In this case, we're going to focus on obligation and permission.
Hello, I'm Simon, the new intern.
Welcome to Smith & Smith Limited. I'll show you to your desk. Joe will tell you everything you need to know about the office.
So as you can see, it's a conversation
to Smith & Smith Limited.
between
I'm sure
two
you'll like it
people.
here. There are a few rules. You have to arrive before 8 a.m.
and how to use the modal verbs.
and you can't leave until 6 p.m. You have to wear smart clothes.
You
don't
have
need
to,
wear
you
a jacket
can't,
or a tie,
you would,
but you mustn't wear jeans.
you must.
But the receptionist...
Oh,
Okay.
she doesn't have to follow the rules.
So, enough to understand. Activity number 5. Interview your partner by using modal verbs to find out something that probably you didn't know about him or her. So you are asking them, or you are inviting to investigate more a little bit more about their classmates. Sometimes they share a lot of hours, they work in many activities or tasks, but they don't know about them. They don't really know what probably they are facing at home. So this activity will be divided into maybe moments. One for designing the interview, to write the questions that the interviewer will need to interview his or her partner, and the second moment in which that person will apply the interview, will make the interview to that partner. Of course, using the modal verbs. You have to be checking, monitoring, and supporting children, supporting your students if they need to. That's important also in this activity. And finally, you can ask them after this activity. You can let them share. Maybe not to all the couples, but you can ask some of them to participate and to share what they have found. Number 6, there's a worksheet to reinforce and practice the topic given. You can use, there are many worksheets that you can download for that purpose. So it's just the only thing that you have to consider is to find something that is suitable for your group, for your age, for the level, the English level that your group has. As an additional or further activity, you can also use a platform that is called Slido to make the students type the questions there and to make like a poll to their friends, so they can use a simple notebook maybe to write the questions and to find out the answers, but you can also make participate in a different way with this platform that I will show you in a few seconds. Okay, the platform that I was talking about is this one. It's called Slido. You can invite the students. Probably they will not want to. Maybe they will just leave the interview, the questions and the answers on a paper. But you can give the students this resource, this possibility, especially to form or to support, to motivate collaboration that nowadays we have to include in every single class. I am showing you right now just as an example of a previous lesson plan that I had for my students. So you can create a poll, and once you create a poll about the topic, you have to enter a code. Okay, let me present. Yes, let me present. So you will need a code to join to this interview and just to answer according to, as you can see there. Okay, what kind of problems can you solve with the design process? As I told you, it's not related with the topic, but it's something that I would like to share so you can have more resources, more tools to apply with the students. So it's not a must, but it's something that you can use and it's very helpful. And according to my lesson plan, I decided to use this not just this application, not just for students, to be used for them, but also to apply them a poll to check understanding. Maybe with 2 or 3 questions, you can measure how good was the class, if they understood, if they liked it or not, if they need reinforce. And that could be a feedback for you, for the teacher, not for students, but for you. So in the next class, you can make a quick review or you can work on them. You can send them exercises instead just passing the class without asking how the topic was understood. And finally, as a closing activity, you can ask them to record just by an audio, with an audio, a conversation, or just reading their questions and answers, their interviews, and to show that or to share that with the rest of the students in front of the class. So together they will find mistakes, possible errors, or maybe difficulties that the students could have during the work activity. What is important to mention as well is the assessment part. Assessment could be also informal, not necessarily in a formal way by providing students or by telling them the grade, a grade. It could be also informal. So while the students are working in groups as teams, you can talk with them, you can give support, you can check what they're doing and how are they learning, because remember that each student has different learning process, a different learning process. So it's important to check how each of them are developing, are progressing, and they are using the language for the purpose that we want to cover in this class. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you. That's it for this class. Thank you.